guys, welcome back to another episode of On the Couch with Terry. My name is Terry, and thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very excited that we get to do this together, and very grateful, in fact, that you decided to click on the link and come and check out my channel. Perhaps you were referred, or perhaps it was just, I don't know, by as appointment that you click on the link, right? So thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe. I appreciate the subscriptions that has been happening. We've seen so much growth within the last couple of weeks. I believe since we started being Terry, the growth has been really nice and steady. And I'm really grateful to everyone who has really taken their time to watch the content and given me feedback. And yeah, I believe we're on the right track, and it feels right. And it feels like we're getting somewhere. So thank you once again, and welcome back to On the Couch with Terry. And I'm very excited today because we are going to be discussing something that is, I believe a lot of us can relate to it. And I'm sure you already saw the title because you already saw the title, but I believe a lot of us can relate to the whole topic of fear dressed up in beautiful garments, fear dressed up in reasonable clothing, and that is my topic today. And I want us to delve into that, and I'll tell you why I thought about this topic. And I like to talk about how why I talk about different topics. There's always a why. Like in most of my videos, if you go back and check, there's always a why am I talking about this? And recently it was on a tennis date. So I was having a conversation with one of my acquaintances. We played tennis together. Pam, shout out to you. She's a great marketing strategist. And yeah, by the way, if you're looking for marketing strategy for your business or for your personal brand, I have someone just for you, because that lady, Pam, is boss babe. So yeah, shout out to her. So we were playing tennis on the Saturday, and we're just talking about brand and how you present yourself as a business owner, or how you present yourself as an industry authority, a voice piece for your industry. And as she was talking, she was talking, and I was just having a whole conversation with myself, unfortunately, because I believe I was just like sort of confronted in what she was saying. I had to go back home, and I was thinking about what she was saying, and I asked myself a whole lot of questions. And I had to really, really be honest with myself. And one of the things was, what is my reality right now? What is my current reality, right? And where is it that I want to go? Where do I see myself in the next 5 years? So what is my end game, And another question was that, what do I really believe about myself? Like, what do I truly believe about Terry? Like, what do I believe about what I can achieve? What do I believe about what God says about my destiny? What God says about my vision? What God says about me as a person? And what is it that I feel? I had to ask myself all those questions when I got home. And it was just so confronting. It was really like, I don't even know why I had to take it so personally, but thank God I did, because sometimes you just have to look at yourself in the mirror and realize certain truths about yourselves. But let me break that down, right? So as I was saying, so I'm a business owner, and I've been in the business for the last 5 years, right? And there's different phases in my business, and I've experienced so many things as a young business, right? I've experienced what I like to refer to as beginner's favor. I believe in the first couple of months of your business, there's usually a certain level of favor that you tap into that you can barely explain, because you come in as a newbie and somehow you have to break through, and only the hand of God, only the grace of God, only the favor of God can enable you to get into that. Right. So I've experienced that. I've experienced the beginner's favor. I've experienced success, right? There's a time in my business where I felt like this is success. This for me is success, where I'm achieving my goals. I have the time that I need. I have the freedom that I was looking for. I see myself as a confident young entrepreneur. I felt that, and I was experiencing that at a particular time of my business. And there were times where I've experienced failure. It really didn't matter what I did, it just didn't work out. Like, it literally didn't matter how many calls I've made, how many emails I've sent, how everything I knew how to do didn't work for me. I've experienced that period. And I've also experienced just being in the limbo. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I can't do this anymore, and I think it's only natural, it's only human for me or for a person to feel these different type of feelings as you journey into whatever it is that you ventured into, if it's business, if it's lifetime commitment, if it's workplace, or if it's just as a person. When you experience these different types of experiences, like of life experiences, what life will teach you, success, failure, doubt, everything, doubt and lack of faith and just wanting to give up. I think it's only natural that you feel discouraged and you feel tired. You start questioning yourself, am I good enough to do this? I felt worried, I felt fearful, I felt like, am I even meant to be doing this business? I questioned myself a lot. And this is all because I've experienced everything. And, and everything comes at a particular season. When I felt success, of course, I feel like I'm the greatest, God is with me. I got this. And then when I'm experiencing failure, naturally, so I felt that, what am I doing? Am I supposed to be doing this? It was just going against my whole faith. And I think that's why we are taught that business, it's a spiritual thing. It's highly spiritual, and you'd have to accept and know that and function at that level, knowing that business is truly spiritual. And but during that whole phase, I'm glad, and I'm glad that I learned this, and I learned this quite early, that feelings are quite temporary. Feelings are not reliable at all. You can't rely on your feelings to stay in your relationship. You can't rely on your feelings to stay in business. You can't rely on your feelings to get fit. You can't rely on your feelings to sustain anything. It's truly about your commitment to what you want to achieve. It's your commitment on what you really want to do in life, attaining that vision or attaining that goal. It's not about the feelings. So yeah, I was saying, going through that process really led me to asking myself questions, and really tough questions. What is my reality? And how has failure shaped my mindset? Failure, how has it really shifted my internal system, right? And how has success changed my character? And how do I see myself as an entrepreneur? How do I see myself as a businesswoman? How do I see myself as a person? How do I see myself? How do I look at myself? And then the most important question, how does God see me? Who does God say I am in all of this? And when I was asking myself all those questions, and this is where it led to this like topic, right? Where I realized just how a lot of how I've been living life has always, or is in most cases, cushioned with the fear. A lot of times we sort of like, when I had an epiphany of who God says I am, the truth is I got clouded with fear. Like, I got scared. Like, God, how is it that you say I am this? Right? This is the end goal. How will I get there? And you know yourself that you are a human being. You'll make mistakes. You'll not be perfect. And then you get clouded by the fear of failure, fear of not attaining what God said you are, or fear of not attaining your written goals. Because a lot of people don't even write them. Like, you don't want to write your goals because you're scared. You're scared that you don't know how to achieve your goals, but it doesn't mean you don't want those goals. And some people, they actually don't even want to have goals because they just don't know how to achieve those goals. They'd rather do it as they go. Like, okay, I didn't want this, but it's happening, so I'm happy. So there's never really a vision in their actions. There's just whatever comes, and that's good, you know. There's a whole fear that lies with knowing or having a clear vision of who God says you are, and not knowing how to get there, not knowing what it takes to be that person. So, and a lot of times we tend to use logic. We tend to dress up these fears into reasonable clothing. For instance, we even say to ourselves, like, it's not the right time for me to do this. We have let me just actually give examples. I'll give you examples of what I mean by dressing up fear in reasonable clothing, right? There's fear of inadequacy. And that's one of the things that I figured out myself. Like yes, I am in business, and I've been in business for 5 years. It's still very young, and I believe there's still so much to learn. But there's so many things that I'm yet to conquer. There's so many things that I still need to grow into, like fear of inadequacy, right? When you start a business, I believe a lot of us, when we start businesses, you have this picture in your mind where like you're gonna take over the world. You have such great expectation of this business or this idea that has come, and you're ready to launch it. And when you do, you don't do it thinking it'll fail. You do it thinking it is going to succeed. And what happens? You go on your, let's say, beginner's favor. Your first thing goes, and everything works out. And then you go into a season where it's testing you, like, it's either you're in or you're out type of vibe. And life teaches you that it's not going to always be successful. Life teaches you that it's not all going to be yeses. You're going to experience a lot of no's. You're going to experience a lot of rejection before you get where you need to get. And what happens when you experience that in your life? You shrink inside, right? If it may not be like physically visible, right? It may not, like, someone may not be able to recognize it, but when you sit with yourself now, you shrink internally. Something whispers in you that tells you that, you're not that great, something tells you that maybe you ain't capable. Maybe you're really not good enough. Maybe, in fact, you're not ready for this kind of thing. That sort of fear of inadequacy, fear of being not being good enough, and not being able to achieve what you had in mind when you started. And that can really, like, wreck someone's faith. And I think the minute we are able to recognize some of the things that we go through, it is our way to freedom. It is our way to getting out of that whatever stronghold. Because sometimes, yeah, it is a stronghold, or I don't know what other word to use it, but once you recognize where you're going wrong, that is your first step to going into the right direction, right? And the second type of fear is fear of taking action, right? Dressed up in, I'm waiting for the right time. I am waiting for the right time to start my business. I'm waiting for the right time to settle down. I'm waiting for the right time to make that call. I'm waiting for the right time before I move from this job to the next. And it makes sense because, when you like spiritual, like when you mature, you feel that you don't want to make hasty decisions. Yes. And you sort of use logic instead of admitting that, no, babes, like, you are actually scared. You are actually scared of taking action. You are actually scared of change. You are actually scared of yourself. You're actually scared of the unknown. You know what I'm saying? So that fear can be dressed up in that logic of waiting for the right equipment, waiting for the right resources to do something. Where else we are really taught like they the truth is there is never the right time. There is never the right time. You just pray and put your faith in God and run with it. And then God will see you through. And as long as you do not give up on what you want to achieve, you have not failed. Failure only comes when you decide, I'm giving up on this. And also we can argue about whether that is called failure or that is really like a time for you to give up on something. And one of the other things, the other one that I almost cried so hard about this. This was just insane for me when I sat down and I realized I could be scared of success. It's possible. I think it is possible to have a fear of success, to be fearful of becoming of who God says you are, to be afraid of reaching your potential, showing up as who God says you are, showing up as the greatest version of yourself. It is possible to be afraid of success. A lot of times we find a lot of comfort in misery because there's a quote that says, misery likes company. And when you're miserable or when you failed or when you're having a pity party and you've got people, encouraging you, comforting you, giving you a tissue or shoulder to cry on and all of that. There's this, no man, I don't know how to describe it, but it gives you a sense of belonging, right? It gives you a sense of being seen, being heard. And that could really translate to fear of success because actually a lot of times when you are successful and you're being celebrated for your success, what do we do? Natural self, nah, no thanks. But yeah, you don't even take a moment. You don't even take 1 minute to acknowledge your success and to say, yes, no, I am successful. I'm grateful for my success. It is God who put me into this place. What am I doing with my success? A lot of time we don't even want to admit to the successes because I don't know why. And I think that needs to change because I'm tired of talking misery. I'm tired of talking failure. I'm tired of encouraging. I really want to sit down and say, you are successful. And you say, yes, I am. And this is what it took for me to get here. And I think for me personally, I need to get rid of that fear of success. I can even give like a silly example of dressing up, like being afraid of dressing to some of the outfits that I have. I'm like, maybe I'll come across as too much. You know that thing, coming across as too much, coming across as attention seeking. No, it is not. It is who do you believe you are and being able to show up as that person. And I've always shied away from being the center of attraction. And a lot of things that I don't ever do it for attention, but I just believe light does attract a lot of attention, right? And when you are successful, you will attract both good things and bad things, right? Everything. When the light turns on, moth comes, flies come, mosquitoes come. I don't know what good thing in terms of like incense, but when there's light, a lot of things come there, right? Okay, the good thing is there's light, so we're able to see and work and function because this room was dark and there's lights. We're able to do what we need to do, but there's now mosquitoes, there's now moth, there's now flies, there's now something that you don't want to be there, and it's simply because of the light that is there, right? And I believe it's the same with success, and we cannot shy away from that fact that we wake up every day. Why? We wake up to be successful. And yes, we're not saying success is a place where it is definite for everyone. I can decide for a fact and say, I am successful today. Why am I saying so? Because I managed to go to the gym. I managed to take care of my family. I managed to, dress up, show up. I managed to attend that meeting. That for me is success. And I think we need to own it so much and not be afraid of our success. This is something that really like was quite a like mind-blowing when I was just writing down what I'm going to be talking about, and I realized just how I get intimidated by who God says I am. He already said it. It's already done according to him. He's expecting me to manifest what he's already put as a purpose, right? As a destiny. So I get intimidated by, or a lot of us get intimidated by who God says we already are. And because we're intimidated, we're not able to function at faith level. We function at fear level. And when we function at fear level, we're already failing. We can never attain who God says we are. We can never attain the vision that God has, the thoughts that He has for us, you know? And that is just to really like we need to do our best to get rid of that, and stop using reason to not do certain things. um Reason like I don't have mine. We love that. I don't know who taught me this. It was actually my mentor. I remember, I don't remember what the conversation was back then, but it was a while back. It was like, oh, that's too expensive. I think I said something like, this is too expensive. And he shifted my mindset from saying things are expensive to saying, how can I afford this? That is the right question to ask. How can I afford this? How can I get there? You're not here now, but how can I get there to be able to attain this that I'm looking for? So this is really just to spark a thought within you that will get you reminded that with every decision that you make, you're going somewhere. You are literally going somewhere every single day. I thought about this, and I realized just how there is never standing at one point. A lot of us, we like to say, oh, I feel stagnant. The stagnation is in fact a myth, because every single day the earth is continuing to rotating. In every single day of our lives, we're going somewhere. It is either you're going towards your destiny, it's either you're going towards your vision, it's either you're going towards your purpose, or you're going against your vision, against your purpose, against your destiny. Stagnation does not exist. And that's one thing you have to know and admit and realize, so that every day when you wake up, you are cognizant of that fact. You know for a fact everything that I'm doing is leading me somewhere. And where do I want to go today? I just really want you to really realize just how we ourselves are so responsible to how much fear contributes to our lives, and have a great pyramid shift and change of mindset, um, around who we are, and around who God wants us to be, and around exactly like how do you operate in your life, and how do you get to a victorious place in the end, in the midst of everything that life gives you. How do you use all of that to get to where you know for a fact God says you will get? So that is just my word for today. And I do hope that as I was talking, you were able to reflect, you were able to, and the purpose of reflecting before certain things happen into your life is to mitigate those things, so that you don't have to go through everything. You can learn from other people's mistakes for you not to get into certain pit holes, right? So I just really hope that when you're looking at this, you're able to like recognize areas in your life where you've always cushioned your fears with reasonable clothing, reasonable, logical reasons as to why you're not doing certain things, or in fact, why you do certain things, why you do certain things. And yeah, thank you so much for taking your time to watch me today. I really hope you enjoyed this conversation. It wasn't an easy one because also it's quite fresh in my mind, but yeah, I'm just here to spark a thought, and this is not the beginning or the end of what this conversation is about. I believe there's so much more. There's so many other things that we can talk about related to fear and how it affects our lives. But that is just my portion of it for today. And hopefully we can explore it one another time with a different person. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, guys. The Lord bless you, and I hope that I will hear from you guys on the comment section just to hear how you manage those things. How do you manage? Tell me, how do you manage an experience where your faith is hindered, your faith is broken, and not entirely broken, but it's scratched, man. You know, when you like, you have fear, you have faith, but you've got faith that has scars. And those scars, what do they do to you on a daily basis? How do they affect your daily living? How do they affect your decision making? Those times where you've really been disappointed, where you felt like you failed, how do you get out of that space? What is it that you used as a, you know, into getting away from that space into a place of faith again, into a place of trusting again? And in all of this, I believe we all trust God. You can trust God 100%, but still like be like, Lord, I remember when this happened, you know. But I believe that all things work together for our good. But I really do want to hear from you so that someone else can learn and someone else can, I want to be encouraged by you as well. So thank you so much once again. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys on another episode of On the Couch with Terry. See you guys next